to the third episode of the Rolf and Sepp Show. We are nerding around again about topics like the metaverse, extended realities, AI, and all that stuff today in the context of mobility. Which impact does mobility and the metaverse have on each other? And therefore, we have a special guest. Rolf.
Yes, and I'm really, really happy to have Björn today on board. I need to read his title because it's so really long. He's the head of Future Intercontinental Experience Program at Lufthansa. He's one of the leading person behind the Allegris program. And I must say, he was a brilliant host for the September Open Rome event where we sold out our tickets in minutes. And he had such a great chance, show that I got a lot of requests to do this again. But now, I would say, welcome Björn to the stage.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Rolf. Hi, Sepp.
Hey, Björn.
Hey, Björn. Sehr schön.
Kann ich auch Karten nehmen?
Das sind meine Karten, sonst weiß ich meine Fragen nicht. Jetzt hat er sie mir wieder aneinander geklebt. Das ist schon geil. So. Kein Thema.
Welcome, Björn. Nice to have you on the show.
Great
and
to
it's
be here.
always a pleasure to have you. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself or our audience so that they get to know you a little bit better, to know what you're doing, what your profession is, and what you have to do with terms like metaverse, extended realities, and obviously mobility.
Yes, actually, mobility is pretty obvious in my. If you look at my title, I'm working for Lufthansa. So my name is Bjorn Becker. I'm working for the Lufthansa Group. And I'm responsible for new intercon fleet introductions. We're getting a new product, a new intercon product next year on more than 100 new aircrafts, big investment for Lufthansa. And this is the responsible of me together with the team, obviously, is to bring this product to the markets and to make sure that we as a company from a commercial perspective, but more than that, even our customers from an experience perspective have fun with that.
What is your current favorite VR application?
To be honest,
do you play some games, or what are you doing with VR?
Yeah. So actually we are using VR, and this is why I'm sitting here, I guess. We are using VR to, on the one hand, market our product. So market the new Allegris product. We did a fabulous metaverse launch event in February this year in your space, as you know. And we are also using it to train our service centers. So to answer your question, my favorite app currently is our space that we have created for Allegris. And I'm really... I'm not only saying this because you're here, but it's really no. I sometimes really go in there just to see it again if I'm not involved in trainings, because I really think we have created a great experience there. And we might come to that later, we will extend that experience to other things now and to other use cases.
And I think this explains why in September everybody loved when you gave our audience from LinkedIn the possibility and it gave them a tour. I remember you were still in America and it was before your first coffee. But I believe your enthusiasm and your energy was very well transferred, and it's a lovely place. And I must say, you took directly the first question of my list is, where do you use the XR technology? So as you said, product launch and training. But do you have some pros and cons which you can share, which you notice since you're using XR? Because I believe you maybe have experience also on the traditional product introduction already.
Absolutely. And for me, this extended reality is something that perfectly adds to a physical experience. So what I would not see is, and we didn't use it that way, is that like we replace it. So there's still need for physical experience, but especially in topics where you have a lot of people that you want to reach, and on the other hand, very limited resources that you can do that with. So for example, our seats, the new Allegris seats, we don't have like 1,000 seats available somewhere that we can show, but we wanted to give our customers worldwide the opportunity to, at the same time, at the same day, experience this. And that's the perfect match for this kind of technology. So you can in a really nice and immersive manner show the customers the product, explain it much better than you would just do it with like slides or something like that. And they provide a really good experience with it. So the big pro of this obviously is the fact that you can really scale a very immersive experience in a way that you would never be able to do it with a physical experience only. That's the pro. On the con side, I would say there would be one thing, and that, to be honest, was maybe something how we set it up. I mean, what we did is, as you both know, we did a product launch the two product launches on this day. In the morning for all the APAC customers, or like Asia Pacific customers, in the evening for America's customers. We sent out the devices to people who were very interested, but who were like not like 100% like metaverse natives or something like this. And that was pretty much a hassle in the beginning to get everything on board. You know that, right? And so I think there's still a way to go until this technology is at a stage where it's so intuitive that you can just give it to everybody, whoever it is, and say, okay, work with it, do something with it. It needs some guidance, which is absolutely fine and fair. And if you get some guidance, it works well. But it's just a little bit of effort you have to consider if you want to do something like that. It's still very innovative and new.
Yeah, and I must say, I really like that you highlight that. I think it's important for everybody to understand this here is not replacing the real situation, the real meetings, the real activity. It's an add-on, and I think this you highlight very, very clearly. And I must say, I had the feeling you're reading my notes here, because the next one was what is the biggest fuck up and the biggest woe. And I think the biggest fuck up you already mentioned, it's the logistics, the hassle you have. And if I just add things like, is the Wi-Fi password known, which some of the people was quite nice because, yeah, they were not at their home. They were in hotels, so they need to get information first. And the hassle themselves was not in our environment or in the event themselves and the demonstration or operating it. It was everything before. Was the device arrived on time, or has the device arrived on time? Did they know the Wi-Fi conditions and all the stuff? Was there anything you want to add from your experience?
No, it's just the whole. That's completely how I experienced it. The whole like process to get there is what's still a little bit like complicated. And that's, but to be honest, I mean, how has it been when like the first mobile phone came out, or when that's all technical experience, the first cars, I don't know what, you can go back in time as much as you want. New things have never been smooth to 100% in the beginning. So that's nothing special, I would say, right? So there need to be people like you, and maybe also like us here, that go that way and take that hassles in order to make it more smooth and to develop it. And I'm 100% sure that we'll get that path. We will follow that path to a smooth experience, to a fully smooth experience, to get everything there. And to be honest, if you look at the devices, I now have a device on my head that's already pretty nice compared to what we had a couple of years ago. And I'm pretty sure that if you look at the hardware development we're seeing, it's comparable to what we have seen with mobile phones 20 years ago. It's so fast. I'm pretty sure that in 10 years, in 5 years from now, they look like normal glasses, more or less. And then more people will have it and will be used to it. And then this whole hassle we experience, because nobody was really used to using that will be gone. It will be very normal. And then it's really
absolutely. Absolutely believe that. Was there any wow moment in this process which we have not realized? And I'm not talking about how people perceive being in your virtual launch and seeing the chairs. Was there any additional wow moment related to the technology which you can share with us?
The immersiveness of it, to be honest. I mean, it's for us presenting a product that lives quite a lot from the haptical things, like feeling the materials and this kind of stuff. It was obviously that's not possible in the virtual experience, but still it was very immersive, and especially when it comes to our cabin products. So in the room it was immersive already, but this feature we had, that we have this 350 in the air where you can go into, and then really in the aircraft cabin. That was one of the things that really, I think, blew many people away, and me too in the beginning.
Okay, so let's focus a little bit about the topic of mobility. The whole sector is changing quite a bit as there are new inventions, at least making the headlines of the news, like flying cars, Hyperloop. People are going car to bike, cars should be autonomous and all that stuff. So there's quite a wide diversity. And you as a mobility provider, from your perspective, do you think all of these innovations will stay, or will they disappear? Or what is your expectation of the innovation sector in the mobility?
Yeah, I think it's similar to what we see with all innovations, right? It's there are like thousands of innovations out there, and out of these thousands, only a couple will make it. But still, it's important to have all the others in order to filter out the ones who are really valuable. And if you look at the mobility sector, I think we're seeing a couple of big trends or challenges we have to solve. The first thing is mobility will not go away. I'm completely convinced that we're not staying at home in the future. So we still need mobility, short term, also long term, or long distance. That will stay. Will even maybe get more intensive. But on the other hand, we obviously need to solve our sustainability topics. That's something that really needs to, and there we need innovations, and that are the big topics to solve. And we also need to solve our infrastructure topics, right? So infrastructure is really tight. It's old. All these things. Look at not only our airports. Look at the streets in Germany, look at the Bahn. There are a lot of challenges to solve, but I'm sure we will solve it, and all the innovations are helping us. And innovations are in the sector itself. If you look at, for example, like these air taxis, we've just announced a cooperation there. Or if you look at other things that are coming up, autonomous vehicles, that will be something. I also like to drive myself, right? But if you look at how can we more efficiently use the infrastructure we have, obviously autonomous is something that really will help. Because if you drive very homogeneously, then you have a lot more throughput on the infrastructure. So that's something that will need to solve all our challenges. And then the question is, what innovations do we have to also replace some of the mobility? And we also already, Wolf and myself just talked about like these virtual meetings, and I see technologies like this. You can imagine we had this discussion also here with using this kind of technology. Does that replace in the future mobility and physical meetings? My hypothesis would be not that much. I think it replaces the virtual meetings we currently have. So if I look at how can I work in teams today and how can I collaborate here, I would say the collaboration here is much better than in teams. But it doesn't necessarily, both of them doesn't necessarily replace the physical meeting, at least not only to a certain extent. And we see that replacement already, obviously, the business travel.
This would be exactly my next question. Do you already see that technology takes over some market shares? And is there a shift that you really can experience since, I would say, at least for Germany, obviously in the Corona times, people got used to video conferencing before it was nobody actually knew what video conferencing is. Now it's a daily business. And is there something that you really experience where you have to wrap your mind around and think that you have to adopt to a of lifestyle or business lifestyle, or do you think to go in different markets with technology?
Yeah, and we do see that, and I think everybody in Corona learned that that you don't necessarily have to be in the office to work, which hasn't been that clear before, and that you don't have to necessarily travel. So that's the two things we learned during COVID, and that's we are very clear that this will not go back to the pre-COVID level. And also when you look at sustainability, both is most probably a good thing, right? So I'm in the office usually like 3 to 4 days a week at least. It also depends a little bit on the job you do, but I'm still there. Like I'm still working from home, like for 1 or 2 days a week, which is like 20 to 30% less driving.
It's obviously if you like working from home or if you prefer to go to the office, it's a very personal thing, I think. In the moment.
Absolutely. But this choice hadn't been there before. And this will not come back. And this you must be in the office 5 days a week will not come back, and that's good. And that you don't have to travel from I don't know, from Frankfurt to Nuremberg or something like this, or to Munich for 2 days or a 2-hour meeting. It's also good because it's just makes sense from a sustainability perspective not to do that. But it still again will not fully replace personal meetings. Never. I'm pretty sure.
No, obviously not. Obviously not.
And I think it's absolutely right what you pointed out. It will not. And also, if I look at the seats, the new seats you having a cabin also in the business class, where business was business, not private. So you offer some privacy in where absolutely these 2-hour meetings will be where you travel 4 hours for just 2-hour meetings. These will be maybe replaced or will be moved into a different area. But if you do the trip and you travel for 4 hours, you probably will meet longer duration. You don't go there for 2 hours. You go then there for half of the day or the full day. Yeah. You get more out of your trip. I think absolutely right. This is I'm with you on that.
My next question is a little bit apart from the sustainability aspect. I think the mobility or transportation branch has somehow to recreate the travel experience, especially in the context of new technologies, so that it's not of time, it's not boring, and so on. And I would be quite interested in, do you see that some things like virtual reality or augmented reality really appear on transportation or travel products as, I don't know, entertainment or something that is really there? Like I think Hollow Ride did it. This is a spin-off from Audi, and for making the journey more interesting.
Yeah, I think that there are two things, right? The one is that I think we will use this kind of technology much more in the phase where you inform yourself about your destination. Where you, for example, if you look at business at leisure trips, where you today browse somewhere in the web and look on pictures of a hotel, why don't see it immersively already to get a good feeling of how that is and how this whole experience could be that you want to then have physically in maybe a couple of weeks or month on your holiday. That's the one thing. And the other thing is, yes, I would also my hypothesis would also be that also the entertainment in the on your trip, I necessarily say only in the air, but on your trip also might be improved with this technology. Again, we just had that. If I see what kind of development these headsets have made in the last years and what we see now already coming, I'm pretty sure that in the next 4 years we'll see broader reach of these headsets also in a B2C environment, and with that a much bigger opportunity to also use it during travel, and because to bring these devices on the aircraft for us is really a logistical nightmare. To have like 300 devices on an aircraft like this and bring them to the customers, collect them at the end of the flight, and all these things. That's logistically really a nightmare. You really don't want to do that. So that's the whole thing. I could imagine is some sort of a bring your own device kind of in-flight entertainment experience where the content is provided, but the device is your own.
And maybe virtual offices
absolutely.
On the trip and for all the business people who needs to work.
There are products in the market already, right? Who provide this in a really like we're starting with this, but it's coming. It's very obvious.
Just to add one comment, when you said when you be on travel and you want to, why not immerse in a hotel? I must say I got already told that I'm really reselling your seats, because it's so easy to explain the new concept of your seats being in front of the seats and pointing out how it is. So you don't need to be a big salesperson and explain it. You can really show it. And I think this is a very good example of what you describe of why not using this technology to also make your decision which ticket you should buy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably not for a 2 hours trip. It's not everybody wants to say, I need to be on this cabin area. But if you have a long distance fly, you directly see what you get. And this, I think, for me was one of the biggest things that I really, really realized what the value is. In the past, it was like economic or business class or first class, but you had no clue what you got. You know different entrance on the airplane, but you find out when you be in the plane, right?
And then think about that you don't only look at the airplanes, because to be honest, the seats on the aircraft are the same in every aircraft. But if you go from, I don't know, Warsaw via Frankfurt to New York, and then you can, for example, walk through the airport infrastructure, see how it works, see where lounges are, see what lounges are. Does it make sense to go to the lounge? And so on and so on. That can be, I mean, at the end of the day, you need the whole world like that you can experience. So that's going to be a little bit difficult maybe. But from a technology perspective, this immersive technology is absolutely capable of doing this.
My next question, you answered a little bit, but I want to go a little bit deeper in it. If we take a step forward in time, let's imagine we're 10 years from now, for example. Do you think that the metaverse, and if I talk about the metaverse, I always include AI, things like blockchain, extended realities, and also a certain amount of gaming, will somehow disrupt the industry, especially in the perspective of gaming, because having vacations somewhere on the world might be replaced by another generation through gaming, for example. This was the background of my question. So what are your thoughts about that in the future? Or,
to be honest, I hope no. Not because of my business, because of what would that mean for our society? If like the personal meeting of people would be fully or to a very high extent replaced by things like gaming. Gaming is cool. I'm doing it myself sometimes. So I'm not saying that it's not fun, but it's just one element of spending time, and it should not replace other social elements of coming together with people. If I know people, it's nice to meet them in any kind of virtual games and to play with them, as it's also nice to meet them personally. But it shouldn't be the other way around, I guess.
Then this journey point maybe is then the more important thing in the future, that it's not seen as I'm flying. It's like it's a journey to go from a place to another place, that it comes maybe closer or attract the gaming person who wants to have a journey and some excitement. And
that's what it is today already, right? Because flying, there are not so many people who are flying because they want to fly. The most people who are flying or going on the bus or on the train or whatsoever because they want to go somewhere and want to be there and want to experience something wherever they go or meet somebody wherever they go. It's not a mean or going somewhere. Mobility is not a mean in itself. Usually, it's always something that you use to do something else. And there's something else. That's the important thing, to be honest. And then the whole journey is the important thing for us. We want to make this journey special and unique for you. This is our goal. But at the end of the day, I don't think that it makes sense to say some people are whatever they do, flying, driving bus, driving train, whatsoever, just because they want to do it. Normally, they do this because they want to do something wherever they go at the destination.
Yeah. So then let's hope that we have a long time of coexistence and not entirely diving into the metaverse. You already answered all of my question I had. So, Rolf.
Yeah. I will not bring up the topic of this type of like, are we not already be in a big simulation and we just think it is life? But as long as nobody, right? Yeah, but as long as nobody is offering me a blue or a red pill and I have to follow the rabbit, I'm still believing it's the life we have is no. Let's say Leslie told us it's always real because it feels real. So we're not sure if our physical life is really physical. It is already real. But
as long as it feels like that, it's okay, right?
Exactly. Yeah. As you already mentioned, we touched a bit how do you think what happens in 10 years? So is there any advice you could leave the audience on, because you mentioned it needs people like us to start, to drive, to learn the hustles, to, I will say, make mistakes. Mistake is always good because you learn out of it. Is there any advice you can give the audience how they should start or what they should do?
Yeah, I think the first advice would be start. Take a look at it, because it's something. Again, as I said, it's something that, from my perspective, will have its place. So you rather start thinking about how can you use this technology in your industry, and where are the benefits, and this is really important advice, because I also know that many people walk around and say how cool these kind of headsets are, not having a real use case for it, and that doesn't make sense. Again, it's not a mean in itself. It's not, the technology is cool. But the question is always, where's the use case? So this is our clear use case was we wanted to reach people that we couldn't reach without it. We want to train people that we couldn't train in a scale without it at this costs and with this immersiveness. So that was a clear use case, and we did it, and that makes sense. Yeah. So if you want to. First advice, look at it. Second advice, look at it from a use case perspective, as you would do with any other topics. I met so many people in this year where we did that. I was on the Mobile World Congress and all this. I met so many people who were really excited about the technology, but didn't know what to do with it. And that doesn't make sense for any technology or anything. You always need to come from the use case. And that would be my advice. It's pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but I just experienced it differently in the last month. That people are really coming from technology and not thinking about what to do with it.
And there I would like to tie in a little bit, because my experience is that if you have a creative mind, then you come up with use cases immediately after you have experienced it for the first time. But I also know there are a lot of people that where their brain does not explode in the minute they have experienced it in the first place, but they stuck with, what should I do with that? Did you experience that in your journey internally as well, so that you had to somehow educate people and just out thing, look, this is the way to go? Or how is your experience?
Absolutely. You need people with like that are excited about the technology that you need, definitively, just to bring it forward. And then but you also need people who get exactly this things together. Like, what do I do with the technology from a creative perspective and also from a business perspective? So how do I bring all this together? And I think this is what worked pretty well. Also, if I may say that in the team, also with you guys, because that all fitted pretty good together with the ideas that we had, what our needs, what do we want to do, and then with the implementation ideas you had, and so everything has to come together. And it's the same thing as for every technology, every project you have. You need to bring like all the different and diverse people together with creative minds and people who have the use case in mind and all these things. And it works, but again, it needs to be. There needs to be a clear goal that you want to achieve. Otherwise, I think, especially this new technology that is exciting, has the danger that you just do something because you want to do something, because you want to use it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
For the sake of
That's
technologies.
nice, but doesn't bring you anywhere. Yeah. Because at a certain point of time, if you have to invest money, there will be somebody coming around the corner and say, okay, what's the value of it? Why are we spending time and money in this? And then you have a good answer. Otherwise, it will not work.
Yeah. And I think
absolutely
this is
agree.
also what you said, start with it, find the use case, because if you don't start, maybe you don't get the answers you need to really drive things forward. Just thinking about what is the technology is not the right way. You need to find out your use case, which I think is very important for everybody to understand.
And if you're convinced, stick with it. That's the other thing. I mean, there are so many. You find enough people who say it doesn't work or it will not work. They're always there, regardless of which innovation we're talking about, right? Everybody's there. You will always find enough people who say that will never happen. What do you do this for? So if you're convinced and if you have a good idea in your mind, you need to just really stick with it and then show the people that it works.
We forget the positive comments because we humans, negative sticks always better in our mind. I still remember the positive ones who don't want to return the headsets, who want to come back, who want to stay, who want to buy the building, who he really, really enjoyed everything. But I think the positive messages we always forget so quickly. We always get stuck with the negative, which we all should make sure on ourselves. We remind ourselves about all the positive stuff we receive from being in this environment here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a topic. You create the first, let's say, first project that should be innovative and where you don't make so much mind about how to get it implemented into your company. This is quite easy. And then comes the next step. And there are all these no-sayers and all these barriers you have to go through, like, how is it with IT? How is it with this and that and blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of, do you say that in English, wind against you? And that you have to
headwinds
somehow overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be, I mean, fair enough to say, yes, there are these headwinds and all these guys who are saying it will not work. And there are real challenges also. So you have to accept that not everything is going smooth if you do things like that. That's also obvious, right? And again, same thing with every innovation. It's an innovation because you don't know how it really works. And you'll find out on the way. You have to really calculate with. Just imagine the people when we did our onboardings, you remember with our customers, right? When they really were first in the area, in the room and experienced this, how many people were there who were really like us, really excited and was like, wow, what is this? And this is so, and this is where you then see, okay, this is why I do this. This is why this makes sense, because for them, and these were all top customers of ours. And for them, it was a brilliant experience. And it was just like really new and nothing they have ever had before. And this is something that sticks also with them in their mind. And they will connect also our brands like Lufthansa with this like innovative topic for a long time. And that's also a value, because as a company, you obviously have to be and want to be innovative and want to be seen as that.
Absolutely. And the moment is still right to have your audience experience it for the first time. If you're not Lufthansa or something else, but if you're, I don't know from which business that you're coming, but the chances are high today that you can create this wow effect at least for the next 2 years.
And there's another thing coming into this. Actually, I was on a lecture on university on service marketing last week, and what I also told them is these things. If you use kind of new technologies, you're getting a reach to a target group that you would never get without it. And that's also very interesting. If we would have done this only like physical with the like regular things, airlines, we would have reached our normal customers, which is important because they're our customers, obviously. But we would have never reached like the tech community, for example, where we have now got a really big buzz. I was actually when we made this show when I was in LA on this conference where I was. on this conference where I was, I made a big interview with BBC. Not because they I mean, awesome, hopefully because they liked our product, but the trigger why they came to us were the metaverse, because that was really new. Otherwise, they did on the show, they did something on innovation. They did a report on innovation. Yeah. So, and BBC obviously has a big reach in the world. It's a big broadcasting network, and we would have never got this attention there without using the technology. So this is not why you do it, but it's also value you create with it.
Before I go to the last question, I just want to summarize all the stuff, Björn, which you mentioned. Very important for me was number one, start it, do something, find your use case, which I think is an important message. The second one, which I really like, is stick to your idea. So if you have an idea, stick to it and fight against all the headwind internally, and really stay with it. And I think your final example with the BBC shows it will pay off in a way you don't experience it or you don't foresee it, which I really like. I only can say being regular on your launch and also on your environment, I really like to be there with new people. And when we did the event in September together, showing it people the first time, they get blown away. And I really like to see how people react. So it is something truly innovative, mind-blowing, which has been done there. So really important. Thank you for this. And my last question for today would be, how much hours do you spend in an XR environment or with XR in your daily business?
Unfortunately, not too much, I must say, because I do it actually with like events like this now, or if we do events in our mixed reality showroom or in our metaverse showroom. Yeah, so I couldn't say hours per day. That would be it's more trigger.
Yeah, and this is also very good information for all the people outside who believe, oh my God, this technology will force us to be 7 in the metaverse. It's not. We're still human beings, so it will help us, but it will not be the place where we will be 8 hours a day. So I think that's an important feedback also from you. So yeah, I think we reached the end. Björn, thank you again for being here and joining our opening of our mobility track. And I say thank you for everybody who's listening or watching our show. And as it's the beginning of the mobility track, there are more people coming from different mobility areas where we talk about the same topic. And maybe at the end, we bring everybody together to have a discussion amongst all different types of mobility providers.